should we are live. Welcome to the real story behind our business. And today we have an amazing guest all the way from Canada, Toronto.
Yes.
And we are going to deep dive into the beautiful story that is behind your lovely smile. And I can't wait. I told, when we were preparing, I told Salima, don't tell me, because I said, I love the background with the fashion stuff in the back. He said, that's part of my stream. Like, shh, I don't want to know now. Keep it juicy for me, even during the live.
Yeah.
So welcome aboard. And so the show, as I was telling you in the backstage, that it's a show to inspire women entrepreneurs to share their story in a way they can showcase and connect with other humans around why they came to build the business that they've built and who they help and how it impacts not only their life, but also others' life. So today, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And I always ask, when you introduce yourself, tell us, who you help in that world right now.
Mm-hmm. So, hello, everybody. My name is Salima Valji. I am the CEO of Unleash Forward. I'm on a mission to get more diverse voices to the leadership table. And I do that by helping leaders build their leadership voice so that they're able to lead confidently with calm and credibility. And I do this with both coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and then training and facilitation. And who I typically work with is folks in corporate America, usually at the director level and up. I come from a digital and technology background, and so I tend to work with more companies or teams that are in the digital and technology space.
Yeah, I saw that. You have big names at your, that's just awesome. I love it because I saw that you were a digital girl, and then we're like, oh, we kind of share the same world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting part of my story because I used to, build and run digital agencies. And so you're right. I used to work at Microsoft, and now they're one of the people I serve, one of the companies I serve. I've had the pleasure of working with companies like with Google, HP, Accenture, Deloitte, many other companies, but it's been really great.
Wow. Yeah. And then it went fast from what I understood. So tell me, let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
The little Salima, what was she like? What did she like to play with or how? So that in that story, I always try to find out, what was the sign of who you became as a little girl?
Oh, I'm not sure if there were any clues from a little girl. I mean, I never really played with dolls. I grew up on a farm, just like you. I grew up on a poultry farm. Yeah.
I'm attracting all the farmer girls.
So in rural Alberta, I grew up on a rural farm. So my playground was really outside. And it was, playing. I grew up working in the barns, picking up eggs. And so just playing outside with the swings, the dogs, the animals, the trees was really my playground. And then of course, toys. I remember I loved this one train set. There was this one doll, but it was never really a Barbie girl. So yeah, that's kind of like what my upbringing was.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, outside, right? In nature. Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Do you still have that connection with nature, although you live in Toronto?
Actually, I really crave nature and I need to be in it often. Yeah. I need that for my grounding. I need to connect back with nature often, and I don't do it enough. So it's an opportunity for me.
I hear you. Because it feels so good each time we make a decision to take that 40 minutes to go in a field or in a piece of wood, like in a place, a trail, right? It's always good. There is never any regret. We just have to do it.
Yeah.
So tell me, like you have that amazing career, big companies in the digital world, and then now you are your own boss. So what was your most burning desire before you started your business and why? Bring us to the I don't want you to go like too I know to detail, but how did you go from one step to another? And then what was that burning desire that said, okay, that's it. It's my turn on my own term now?
Well, I was kind of forced into it, to be honest. This first time I'm going to be telling this story live, but I was actually fired from my role. I had been there for 2 years. I was exceeding performance in terms of building the practice, the mandate to, digitize the capability of the entire office across Canada. I was exceeding my performance metrics. However, I was not managing my image or my exposure. And, as an Indian woman, I was always taught, work hard, perform well, and the rest will do work for you. I didn't know that I needed to really manage my image. I didn't know that, what exposure was. And so I really learned that afterwards. But I found myself fired from a job I worked really hard for. And that was major career trauma for me. Like, it took me a long, long time to bounce back from that and to reclaim, I had a real crisis in confidence at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, I was in a position of like, I'm no longer relying on anybody for my income. I'm not relying on anybody for my job and what I do. Like, nobody else gets to control this but me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Salima, we share more than one story.
Yeah.
This is my story too. I got fired twice, or my job position got cut twice. And then that's the second time I exactly said what you just said. Not anymore someone else gonna decide to turn up or down my money regeneration.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the trauma, because you give everything, you're good at what you do, and then goodbye. So it takes time to rebuild that confidence. So what was the biggest struggle for you at the time to make it happen, to come back on your feet and find that ground again?
The biggest struggle for me was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was in a business where I was helping to grow other people's digital footprints online, building social media footprints, and I had lost my passion in that. I had been doing it at that point for like 15, 17 years. I just lost my passion. And so I saw the firing as an opportunity to allow me to explore and move forward. And I spent a lot of time trying different things. Like, I went into, one of the things that people used to tell me was like, oh my God, the team that you've been brought into the company has been amazing talent. It's made such a big difference. And I kept being told that the team I was bringing in was just really bar one. And so I thought, well, maybe that's where I need to do, is help others build really strong digital teams. And so I went into recruiting, and I tried that for, about 8 months. And then I was like, okay, recruiting inside an organization is very different than when you're an actual recruiter, recruiting for other firms. And so I was like, this is different, and this isn't what I was thinking it would be. I went into consulting, and I was doing digital consulting. I helped other organizations build their capabilities, and I said, I'll do it as a contract. I'll come in for 6 months, a year and a half, and come turn things around for you as part of this change management effort. And I did that for a number of years, but I still didn't find my way. It just didn't feel like home. And then one day I was speaking at a social media conference for HR professionals, and they had, there was a gentleman in the audience at my table, and he's like, you'd be really good at this. And I'm like, what's this? I don't know what you're talking about. And what he shared was, it was leadership facilitation. He's like, you're really good at speaking. You really connect with the audience. I've seen you. I think you'd be really good at, training and facilitation. And at that time, I was also teaching at George Brown in the marketing program. And so I started doing leadership development training, and I had never done I had no background in that other than being a leader as a VP of digital, as a managing director, as an SVP digital. that was my training ground to deliver this leadership training.
I love that you gave yourself the space and the time to figure it out. How do you do that? Do you have any tip to share?
Yeah, it was a long journey. I would say almost 5 to 10 years. Like, it was long, and it's a lot of up and down, up and down. And it's a lot of, if you put your design thinking hat on, it's a lot of prototyping. Oftentimes we spend a lot of time trying to figure it out in our head, but you don't know until you go out and you get the data. You don't know until you actually try and you do it, and you keep doing, you keep doing, and you keep doing. And so if any of you who's listening, I can see Munira's there, and Daniel is there, and Jill's there. And if you're trying to, like, I need to recreate myself, or it might happen later in your career, it's like, it really is, the way to do that is just by prototyping. Getting the education is definitely one way. Connecting with people to see if you're finding your tribe is another way. But it really is a journey of up and down, and of trial and error, trial and error. And it's just like, I'm just going to try because I'm going to collect data, and not be attached to the outcome, not be attached to, like, can I make the most money here? I made that mistake, and I was always looking for, can I make the same money I was making before? Can I make more money here? And that's what was grounding my decisions. And then slowly I learned, no, I'm capping myself off from capturing this data, really valuable data, if I'm attaching it to, how much money it's going to produce.
Oh, wow. I love this. Oh, guys, I hope you are listening, because just do it, basically, and just notice what happens, and then move on, or amplify it if it's what you like. So tell me how it felt, because that person told you were really good at this, and then this was the leadership thing, and then you became a teacher, a professor. But how did it feel when it clicked?
There's a sense of grounding. There's a sense of peace. You're no longer, asking the question of what's my gift and what do I need to do? Then the question becomes, okay, how do I apply this gift more? So your questions change. It's like, well, how do I make this work for me in my schedule? Or how do I make this work for me and what my financial desires are? How do I make this work so I can connect and with more people? So the questions really change. The feeling within you changes. You're no longer in this place of questioning, but you're in this place of curiosity. You're no longer afraid of it.
This is a gem. I just love it, because this is so true, but it takes time to get to that place, because you think that you're in a race, right? And it's an iteration of version of yourself, and then after that, tuning in with who you really are, how you want to feel, how much money you want to make, and stuff. I love how you describe it. You describe it so well. You make it sound easy.
Well, it's total built on hindsight. It's total hindsight, because I did not know this going in. I did not, I think I made it a lot harder journey for myself. And that's why I say that it took me 5 to 10 years. And even during COVID, I had to reimagine myself again, because my business went away right away. In a span of 2 days, I was down to 0 business. And I had to reimagine my business, because I was doing all training, and I was going to companies, and virtual training wasn't really big then. Mind you, I was doing virtual training for my students, but I wasn't doing it corporately. And so I had to reimagine what I could do. And that's how I leaned in even more forward into my coaching. I was doing it was probably like 15-20% of my business before. And then 80% was the training. And now it's the flip. Now I'm doing majority is coaching, 80% coaching, and then 20% of it is training.
Okay, yeah. So tell me, what does it require in terms of the inner work? Like, how do you, for your sanity, to keep believing? Because you say the ups and downs, and then there's a constant line, which is you, the human, right? So do you have any secrets or things you put in place in your life to save that sacred fire that gets you going no matter what, even if you're up and overwhelmed by success, or what's next? What is your thing?
Well, for me, there was 2 things. One was, my parents emigrated to Canada. They had nothing. They worked like dogs on the farm. They did so much. And so when I looked at what I was doing, I'm like, did my parents do that sacrifice for me to be doing just okay, for me to be just not happy and fulfilled in life? And the answer was always no. They did it so I could have my dream life, that I could create and do what I was meant to do, what my gifts were. And so that was one thing that really drove me, was like, I need to fulfill my parents didn't do a sacrifice for nothing. So that was one of it. And then the other piece was, also tapping to know what it took me time to also like understand what my gift was. And leaning into that as part of the discovery of the prototyping and trying different things was like, I was not born to be married. I wasn't born to just be in life. I was born for a purpose. And so I was really driven by figuring that out.
Ooh, so nice. So tell me, now you're clearer on this, and I'm sure you'll have more iteration of it, because it seems that it is the name of the game, not to be stuck in one way of doing things. What was the big first payoff for you when you figured it out, like in terms of financially or even personally or something else? What would you say were the big payoff and you said, this is it?
I would say it's the impact on people's lives. So when you see, for example, when I'm teaching, post-grad students, and I would say half of them are international students. And when you see them come through your door, and when you see them leave, and you see them really blossom into their potential, you see them really fall in love with marketing, for example, and really understand and explore what are all the different ways that they can apply their skill set to marketing. Because, when you remember, if you're a student, you're like in a daze and you don't understand. And so to be able to witness that and to see that transformation is so, so powerful, and it's extremely rewarding. And so that was a really big clue of like, oh, I need to follow this. Teaching is definitely my gift, and helping others realize their potential is my gift. And then so as part of my curiosity, that's how the leadership training came about, because I didn't have any training. Being in the digital world, I kept being promoted and promoted and promoted without actually the training. And so for me, part of what's driving me is like, I want to help others, because I didn't have that. I didn't have that support. I didn't know what to do. And, so it's the real reward, and where you've landed. It's just when you're observing, like, I am having so much impact.
Yeah.
And even in my coaching, when I see that transformation over and over, like, there's so much gratitude and there's so much witnessing of human beings, which is you don't get from a lot of careers, which I think is really fascinating to me.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's so true. Plus, we get to work at the very personal level, whether it's in digital marketing or leadership. It always comes back to who you are as a person, and your fears and your courage, and that's a privilege to access that power in our clients. I so agree with you.
Yeah.
I so agree with you. So now, tell me, as a woman entrepreneur, what is your biggest fear?
Oh gosh, I have so many. I think the biggest fear for me has always been putting myself out there, telling my story. In the beginning, it used to be, are people going to believe that I'm a really good coach, or that I can help them? And now that, I've done it and done it and done it and done it, like in 2020, I did 600 coaching sessions. And I'm like, so I have 600 proof stats to show that, that not only do I enjoy this, but I'm having an impact and I'm good at it. And so the fears are like, where am I going to find clients? The fears are like, how am I going to reach my audience? The fears are like, am I good enough? The fears are like, am I going to make enough? Who knows how this COVID thing is going to turn out and what's going to happen. And so those are the fears of like, I have a dream of growing my business. I have a dream of having people join and growing the impact. And so my fear is like, will I be able to do this? I'm declaring it more and more now. And I'm like, am I going to be able to do this? So those are my fears.
Okay. And you are doing it, by the way.
Baby steps. I hired my first part-time marketer a couple weeks ago, which was like a huge step for me. So yeah, slowly but surely.
I love the name of your company, Unleash Forward. It just means everything. It's exactly what it is. I love it.
Tell me, what does it mean to you? I'd love to hear that.
It's, for me, it means when you unlock, for example, not our fears, but when you recognize the fears and you recognize where they come from, and then you change your way of thinking about them and you start to embrace them and work with them, the only way it can go, it's forward. There is no other way, and there is no point of return. That's the scariest part, though. Because when you unlock, like get to your really full, the mindfulness, the awareness of who you are and how you think and how you are your own barrier. Even in marketing, it's like in marketing, it's key. Like this is where you feel it even more, I find. And then once you start working on that, then it projects you through the front. You can't go backward. Because it's so liberating. It's so scary and liberating. I don't know. That's how I feel it.
Well, yeah. So you captured it. It is essentially, unleashing what's already there, the potential that's already there, and rather it's a mind shift, rather it's a belief shift. It's really exploring the possibilities, and then you're right. It's about moving forward. Yeah,
and it has that energy. You unleash forward, it's double action. I love it. Yeah. So what's your relationship? I love asking you this because I know you're part of your background is in the digital marketing and everything, but what is your relationship currently with social media and how do you use it to amplify your message?
Okay. So my relationship with social media is not I'm not an active social media person. I'm going to say that. I have chosen my platform of choice to be LinkedIn. It's so funny coming from a marketing world, coming from helping build other social media platforms. It's like, don't look at me and what I'm doing because I'm the shoemaker's kids. I don't have good shoes, right? I have just found that that was one of the reasons for me where I lost my passion because it just became so complex, the world. And so for me, what I have done, what I feel like works and connects well with my clientele. And for me is like, I really focus on LinkedIn as my way to tell my story, as my way to be visible, as my way to connect. And then I will do these Instagram lives. But I would say it's just really just LinkedIn for me right now.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. Like you should be proud to have picked one. It's cool. It's cool. And LinkedIn it is. And then I think we follow each other, but it's under your name, Salima Valji on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much. I just want to know, is there anything I should have asked to? Oh yes, I want to know the background frame.
Okay, so these fashion figures. Okay. So when I got out of high school, I wanted to go into fashion school. And having Indian parents, my parents were like, no, you are going to university, you're going to get a degree. And back then you could not get a degree in fashion. And so I went into, I did a BCom degree and I majored in information systems. And so I ended up landing a job with Deloitte and I was working in consulting and I was working on projects and technology, e-commerce projects. And then when 9/11 happened, I lost my job. And I was like, okay, this is my chance for me to go connect back with my fashion thing. And so I went to fashion school and then I was like, okay, how do I merge my e-commerce experience with fashion? Now, this is really like early 2000s and e-commerce was not a thing in Canada just yet. And even in the US, it just wasn't quite there yet. And so it was really hard for me to kind of find and merge fashion and technology. Now it's everywhere. But I've always had this connection to aesthetic and to fashion and designing. Every once in a while, I'll design an outfit.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just been an affinity to the fashion world.
You were a pioneer, because now it's, as you say, like we mostly buy online our clothes and stuff. That's funny how fast it went.
Yeah.
Like even less than 25 years. Bam. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a store, or do you have a place where we can buy from you? No.
I wish. No. Maybe a retirement project, but I'm just busy shopping on other people's places.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so that was my curiosity at the very beginning, and we almost forgot to talk about it. So I'm glad we covered that. So is there anything else you'd like to add about the real story behind your business?
No, I would just say this, to anybody who's listening, it is not easy to reinvent yourself. And so get the support that you need. Don't be stuck in your head, because that's really the safest place to be. But it's also, when we're playing it safe is when we're really holding ourselves back. So rather it's finding mentors, rather it's connecting with other entrepreneurs or other people in the role, rather it's getting a coach, whatever it is that you need and support in order to help you move forward, for you to help you to unleash forward. Don't be shy. Go out and grab that support, because it's available for you. And you will feel so much more stronger, so much more confident in who you are as a human being when you do that.
That was the end. The phone is ringing anyway. And that was an amazing end, by the way. Woo, nice. Thank you so much, Salima. And thank you, all of you here in the names I see on Instagram. And
nice, Rahila. Thanks for joining. Azra, nice for joining. Zahur, I see you there. Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. And then if you watch the replay or listen to the podcast and you have questions, around the video and around the podcast, there will be the links to Salima, to me. I was mentioning at the beginning that I also have a guide for you if you want to know what stories can I share if you want to start sharing your story. So that's a guide. It's kind of 10 ways to tell your story. I'm gonna put the link around as well so that you can start playing with your own story. And I promise it's really fun. Like I love when you brought us to the farm with your parents. It just brought me there. I smelled it. And it's the power of stories is like, we're gonna remember Salima, maybe not even for your key stuff, but all the little stories are gonna help us. Oh, that's the girl who is specialized in leadership and stuff, like the girl from the farm. That's how you kind of showcase your programs and your services in a way that is so personal. And I say that in English, amiable, lovable.
Yeah,
like you get attached to that because it reminds you stuff, right? And I can't believe we have so many common points starting with the farm stuff. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Angelique. Really great to be here.
You are so welcome. So I'm going to stop the Instagram here, and I'm going to stop our StreamYard. Thank you, guys.